In a quiet New England town, a family sat down for what was supposed to be a normal dinner. But that night, the kitchen became a crime scene. A man was stabbed 17 times, doused in lighter fluid, set on fire. And the argument? It started over how to cook a steak. This is the story of Andrew Horsman, a man with a troubled past, a household filled with tension, and the shocking moment when everything boiled over. What could drive someone to commit such a brutal act over something so ordinary? And what really happened inside that home in Gardner, Massachusetts on June 25, 2025? Paul Pomerleau was 66 years old, a retired construction worker, known in his community as quiet, helpful, and kind. He had been living in Gardner, Massachusetts, with his longtime partner Karen Horsman. They had been together for over a decade. Paul wasn't just a boyfriend, he was a staple of the home, a father figure, a provider, a presence. Also living in the house was Karen's adult son, Andrew Horsman. Andrew was 41 years old, unemployed, and, according to some, emotionally unstable. For years, the three of them lived under the same roof. Some might call it unconventional, but it worked, at least on the surface. Neighbors described the home as peaceful. There were no loud parties, no police calls, no signs of danger. But behind closed doors, things were far more complicated. According to people close to the family, the relationship between Paul and Andrew was tense. There were disagreements, sometimes loud ones. Paul reportedly felt Andrew wasn't contributing to the household. Andrew may have felt judged, disrespected, even unwanted. Karen was caught in the middle, a mother trying to keep peace between the man she loved and the son she raised. Some sources claimed that Andrew had a history of mental health issues, possibly untreated. He'd had trouble keeping jobs, trouble with social situations, and more than anything, trouble handling conflict. It's unclear how many times the arguments in that house came close to violence. But on June 25th, something snapped. And this time, the argument would be their last. It was dinner time. The family was cooking steaks. What exactly was said is still unclear. But according to police reports, Andrew and Paul began arguing over how the meat was being prepared. Was it undercooked? Overseasoned? Too rare? It doesn't matter. The spark lit the fuse. Witnesses say Andrew became enraged. He grabbed a knife from the kitchen and began stabbing Paul. Not once, not twice, 17 times. The attack was frenzied, violent, personal, and it didn't end there. Andrew then doused Paul in lighter fluid, reportedly from a nearby container, and tried to set him on fire. His own mother, Karen, stood in horror. She was the one who dialed 911, her voice panicked and shaking. First responders rushed to the scene. Paul was still alive, but barely. He was taken to Haywood Hospital, but succumbed to his injuries shortly after arriving. By the time police arrived, Andrew had fled. A brief manhunt followed, though it didn't last long. Officers found Andrew nearby, shirt stained, face blank, and clearly shaken. He didn't resist. He was arrested and taken into custody, where he was formally charged with first-degree murder. At his arraignment, he pleaded not guilty. He showed little emotion. The courtroom was filled with grief on both sides. Karen Horsman sat in silence, the woman who lost her partner to a brutal killing and her son to the justice system. Investigators began combing through the home, collecting evidence. Neighbors were stunned. Many had no idea anything was wrong, but the deeper they dug, the clearer it became. This wasn't about steak. This was years of unresolved anger, stress, and psychological instability, finally exploding in a single, horrifying act. Who was Andrew Horsman? To outsiders, he was a quiet man, largely invisible to the community. But those close to him described a very different person. Unstable, angry, depressed. Reports suggest Andrew struggled with mental health, possibly undiagnosed or untreated disorders. He rarely worked, spent much of his time at home, and seemed to grow more withdrawn in recent years. His relationship with Paul had always been rocky. And Karen? She was the glue holding everything together, until it all fell apart. There is no clear evidence of prior physical violence between the two men. No restraining orders. No police history. But that doesn't mean the house was peaceful. Often, the worst pressure is the kind you can't see. And in Andrew's mind, something had clearly fractured. Karen Horsman is now living with unimaginable grief. She lost the man she loved and the son she gave birth to in a matter of minutes. There are no winners here, just an empty home, an empty seat at the dinner table. Neighbors left flowers outside. Local reporters filled the street. The case spread quickly across Massachusetts and beyond. How could something so brutal happen over something so trivial? That question haunted everyone who heard the story. As of now, Andrew Horsman is being held without bail. His trial is expected to begin later this year. Prosecutors are pursuing first-degree murder. His defense team has hinted at mental health arguments, but no formal insanity plea has been entered yet. It's likely to be a lengthy trial, one that will put the entire family history under a microscope. The justice system will try to answer the question, was this premeditated murder or the tragic result of untreated mental illness? This wasn't a crime that happened in a dark alley. It wasn't gang violence or organized crime. It was something much more chilling. A quiet dinner, a simmering feud, and one moment of explosive rage. A man lost his life. A mother lost her family. And a town is left wondering how no one saw it coming. Because sometimes, the most violent crimes don't happen in the shadows. They happen at the dinner table. What do you think happened that night? Was Andrew a killer? Or a ticking time bomb left untreated for too long? Let us know in the comment section.